But I'm not good at compromise, not in the least.
One of us would walk out
Yeah.
because one of us wouldn't feel wanted.
I can tell you, compromise saves a lot of lives, saves a lot of marriages, so it saves a lot of friendship.
It's saved ours.
Yeah.
It has on several different occasions. If you value that relationship, it will force you to learn how to compromise.
Yeah. When it's hardest.
That's such a cop-out answer.
I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. Let's stay here for a lifetime underneath the moonlight, 'cause I don't want us to go. No, I don't want us to go. Yeah, you could be my lifeline, you could be my sunshine in a world so full of pain. Can you make it go?
Hey guys, welcome back to your channel and welcome to another video. It feels so weird sitting in front of the camera for such a very long time.
It's been a while, guys.
Both of us have been sick.
True.
I was sick and then he was sick and then that's that. But today we are going to resume our Get Uncomfortable series. You know, guys, and I have to say I'm really sorry. Sometimes they said you shouldn't have to apologize, but when I look back on it, it's all a community and you guys make our channel what it is. So I just have to say I'm sorry that we're not being more consistent as we wanted to be, but we're trying to work on that. We're trying. So today's topic, we're going to talk on the topic of compromise. We've narrowed it down to 4, and he's going to tell you what those 4 are that we're going to be speaking on today.
Yeah. So, first, we're gonna do how does being married help improve your ability to compromise. Number 2, how important is it to be willing to compromise?
Yeah.
And next up, when or where do you look for an opportunity to compromise? And next, give an example of a memorable compromise.
Did you write that? Okay. All right.
That
Well,
last
we're
one's gonna be tough, huh?
Yeah, but you know, I'm pretty sure we can find something. Okay, so let's start on the first one. How does being married was that one?
Well, how does living with your partner, I should say, clarify that way,
Okay.
improve your ability or give you reason to improve your ability
Oh.
to compromise?
All right, I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, one, yeah, it's been tough, but it's absolutely accelerated my ability to compromise. Because there are things that I had to get used to, because Sherry likes things a specific way, in specific areas. And some things it needs to be a specific way for her, and I'm not always a believer in the same specific way. I quite often will argue back about it. But at some point there has to be a compromise between that, because if she wants her specific way and I want abjectly not to have her specific way, then we have to hit a point in between where we've got to sit and ask, where's our specific way?
Yeah.
And the reason that it has improved my ability is, frankly, if we didn't communicate, if we didn't compromise, one of us would walk out.
Yeah.
Because one of us wouldn't feel wanted, needed, important, or considered.
And you're speaking on behalf of yourself. So you're saying maybe if either of us, if I or you didn't compromise, you would have walked out.
No. I'm saying if both of us refused to compromise, one of us would have walked out.
Oh, if both of us refused.
Yeah.
Okay.
If neither of us were willing to compromise, sat there and said, no, I'm stuck in my ways, one of us would have walked out. Or if one of us compromised everything and the other refused to compromise anything. For instance, if I made you compromise over and over and over and over again, and I refused to compromise on anything,
it would start to feel like you're forcing me into just what you like.
Mm-hmm.
It would start to feel like that. Yeah.
So in order to avoid that situation, I've had to accelerate my ability to learn how to compromise, because when we started, I wasn't the best at it.
Yeah. I wasn't either. Okay, so you're saying living together and being in a relationship
Forces you. If you value that relationship, it will force you to learn how to compromise.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep it. That's my thoughts on it.
Well, from my I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not good at compromise, not in the least, because as you said, I am very want things my way, and like that's a correct way, but I have to unlearn, and I'm still unlearning that there are.
It's not unlearning.
No, it's unlearning. I have to unlearn that there is not just one way to put the pillows in the couch. There are different ways to put it, and it still can look good, but not because it's not the way I would want it to be doesn't mean it won't. I'm stuttering today. I don't know what's going on. Doesn't mean it won't look good, right? And before we were living together, or even being married, I'm used to my free will. I'm used to just doing whatever, and I'm like, compromise now in like living together is like, why can't you like it my way? Is it my way good enough? Not even thinking that he might has a way that he likes it too, but then we both have to reach the middle of like how we would like it, and not either way. But so I struggle a lot with compromise, and still trying to figure out the best ways to come at it, because I wouldn't say I do the my way or the I way, but I'm pretty sure it's close. I kind of like it done a certain way, and even if it's done a little different, it's like not even just done, it's even in decisions, like how would you say that in decision? Do I force decisions on you? Sometimes. Okay, in relationship to what?
Things that you like, things that you want, or when you want things a specific way. Because, and I'm going to bring up
an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring up an example. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't.
Okay. So, one, there was a piece of furniture, and I can't remember what piece of furniture this was, but you had your mind dead set that you wanted this thing. You wanted that specific piece of furniture. And I said I didn't like it. I said, can you pick something else? I found like there was something that I didn't like about it. And I can't remember exactly the piece of furniture because I don't like remembering our fights. But
yeah.
I remember when I said no, can you choose something else? It became a 35-minute diatribe of reasons why it needed to be your way. And even though I said I don't like it and I want something else, that wasn't enough, because you had to give me a diatribe to get me to have it your way. Even though we never really got to sit down and talk about like what would I want. Instead, it was just, this is why what I want is correct.
So we just moved into the 1-bedroom apartment, and I think I saw a dresser. It was like a wooden dresser on Facebook Market. So we're trying to buy from like people who are PCSing, or people who are selling things cheap, because we just moved in and everything. And your main thing was, I remember you said you do not want to get that because it's cheap particle board thing. I was like, no, it's a real wood thing, and it looks nice because it will go with our headboard, because we already had
we had a real wood headboard.
Yeah, we had the real wood headboard, and it looks almost identical to the dresser, right? And you say you don't like it, you don't want it, you don't like it, but I'm like, in the back of my head I'm thinking like, you don't even care about the bedroom. Like, you just sleep and get up and you just go to work. I'm like, I'm the one who's gonna be spending all my time in the bedroom. Like in the back of my head, I'm like, how do you get to decide that you don't like it just because it's a particle board? Like back then, it did not come to me as, wait, if he really doesn't like it, can we have a different option where we can find one where we both could agree on? It wasn't like that. I was like, I like it, and this is all the reason why I'm still gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it has changed a lot for me, being in a relationship, and sometimes the decisions are hard, and you know, like compromise is the.
It's a hard. I gotta say, I think it's the hardest skill to learn, because you gotta learn how to tell yourself, no, I don't need all of that.
You know why I wouldn't say it's the hardest one? I would say it's the second one, because I would say communication is the hardest one. Because if you can't communicate that to your partner, you cannot come to compromise. And I think that was one. I'm not gonna diverge, but I'm just gonna say communication helps compromise, because if you can't come to terms and know how to approach with saying what you want, compromises are harder. And I think that was why it was so hard for me, because I have no communication skill. And let me tell you, being intelligent doesn't mean you're able to communicate. I can tell you that from experience. I did not. It should have, I don't know what to say. It should have given you the ability to.
It should give you the ability to sit and stand in somebody else's position and understand. But intelligence doesn't necessarily immediately equivalent
to being able to communicate.
Well, I wouldn't even say communicate. I would say being able to empathize. And being able to see things from the other side. Yeah. Just because you're intelligent, you can be very intelligent, set in your ways, and not think anybody else is correct. That's called narcissism.
Yeah. Do I have that?
No.
Oh.
Because you understand when I'm correct. You don't just look at me and be like, no, you're wrong because I think so.
Okay.
That would be narcissism. But when it comes to it, you absolutely you can be that way. Or you can turn around and tell yourself, no, I maybe putting my partner first here. Or maybe I don't have to get everything and we can both be happy.
Yeah.
I think that's where that's what was hardest for me. Because, I was intelligent too.
You've been intelligent.
Yeah.
What do you mean I was intelligent? I know what you mean though. You're saying like back then, you were intelligent, but you...
But I was very, I want this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have this. And at the same time, you were very, I want this and I'm gonna have this.
I don't think you guys understand. Like, Billy and I are so stubborn. It's like, but you know what though? I have to say, 99.9% of the time, he's always the easier one to just like let it go. To just, like, not gonna keep butting it. Because if it's up to me, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. But he's always the one who's always like quicker to just like release the tension and just be like, okay, whatever, but we're very stubborn, and stubbornness also impact having compromise, because I'm like, my way is right. I don't see why you don't like my way, and vice, and it can go on and on, so yeah, compromise, it's hard.
It's hard. But I think that kind of brings us into the second question.
What was that again?
Why is it important?
Was it important? Because
we pretty much answered it, but I just want to hit this nail on the head and kind of bury this one into the board.
If you want to have a lasting relationship with the person you love, sometimes even compromise is not even just in a relationship, just on a day-to-day life. Like,
if you want to have a successful merger,
exactly.
You want to have a successful contract, a successful court case, you want to have a successful job.
Yeah.
You have to learn to compromise.
You have to compromise and understand that your way is not always okay, and your doings are not always the best, you have to...
School is wrong, folks. It's not always follow the rules, stay in line. Sometimes both sides have to compromise.
I wouldn't say school is wrong, because there's so many kids...
I'm absolutely going to say school is wrong.
No, there's so many kids that watches our channel. Guys, let me tell you.
Yes, when it comes to that, I'm talking about compromise.
Okay.
I'm talking about compromise. Specifically, learning...
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules, color inside the lines, do exactly as I say at all times, and you might succeed. Yeah. That's what school says. The way to succeed is understand you're not always going to get what you want, and understand the people around you aren't always going to get what you want. Stop trying to appease everybody, and find some place in the middle where you can all agree.
And be willing, be open. I can tell you, be open and be willing to grow.
It's so hard.
It is so hard. And let me tell you some things. Like, sometimes You think I don't have to deal with deep compromise when it comes to my family and my friends? But I looked at them and I said, I love them and this is all the reason why. And sometimes I have to take a step back and do some reassessment and come back again, just like you would have done in your relationship. You know? So it's just, it is important. And that's the reason why it's important. If you want to maintain a healthy, open, fulfilling life and willing to grow, you have to be able to make compromise even when it's hard.
So next up, when and where should we be looking for opportunity to compromise?
When it's hardest.
That's such a cop-out answer. Come on, do something better. Give me a better answer than that one.
When
Come
it's hardest, I don't know what else to say. You know,
Hold on,
sometimes
let me
it's
fix
not.
it. Let me fix it, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
You know, sometimes, babe, you know, sometimes with
It's
us.
such a cop-out.
No, it's true.
It's still a
I remember
cop-out.
the other day, I don't remember what was happening, and you said, I think we were talking about...
Matt TC.
Hmm?
No, nothing.
What is
Somebody out there will get it.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
don't-
cop-out answer.
But we were talking about something. I don't remember if it was a video. Like I texted you from work and said, "Hey, we wanted to do a video on something," and you said you're ready to. I don't remember what you said about making the video. I said, "Yeah, it's fine. We'll make it tomorrow." And you were surprised, like you're not gonna fight. You're not gonna say why we're not making the video. You know anything? And I was like, I can understand. Even for example, last night when I say, or the night before I say, dinner is ready, and you say, oh, about one more raid, and I said, and I looked at it, and I dished the food out, and I could easily say, no, we're gonna eat now, and I said, you know what? Go do one more raid. By that time, your soup will cool down. You know, I tried to meet in the middle.
It was still hot. But then again, that raid only did last 7 minutes.
Yeah, but it's still is that an example of compromise?
It's a good example.
Yeah, because I could have. Yeah.
That's a great example, babe. No, that's seriously, that is a great example.
Yeah.
Because that's a time that recently where you actively remember compromising.
Yeah.
But
the question, but that's what I'm saying. When it's hard, that's what I'm saying. In those examples that I just listed,
was that hard?
It wasn't hard. That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I say. Do it when it's hard. Because in those times, it wasn't hard. But you know, some hard times.
Yeah, when you want a dresser.
That wasn't even an hard compromise. I was setting my
Well,
ways.
apparently
I
it
was
was
setting
a hard
my ways and
compromise.
be like, I'm gonna get the dresser if you want, because you don't spend no time in this bedroom more than if you sleep and wake up. I ain't care what you think. I'm getting this dang dresser. But I'm talking about like
minutes of. Yeah, sure, get the dresser, whatever.
I'm
We'll go
talking
look at it
about
tomorrow.
real time.
Yeah.
Like real time since we moved.
But describe like what an opportunity would look like if we needed a compromise. Not just when it's hard. Tell me like what would be a good time to look for a compromise.
This is just my personal feel. I feel like if we're there disagreeing on a certain thing and we started to reach to the point where we started yelling, and like I think that's one of the best points where you know you take a step back and you know what, I don't agree with what you're saying 100%, and you can say you don't agree, but what about this? You know, we have to kind of like find a way to meet them. Once you see voice start yelling, raising and stuff like that, I would think that would be a best. I would think that would be a great point to look for a compromise.
That's exactly the point that I was going to make as well. The moment the voices get raised,
Yeah.
I think that should be mentally that step back and whoa, okay, hold on. We need to find something where we're both happy because we're both mad now.
Yes.
Because once you get angry, you can internalize that anger. Anger becomes resentment if it's unresolved, and resentment is the death knell of a relationship.
Yeah.
It's hard to get rid of resentment, but
Yeah.
it's not impossible. But it takes time and it takes effort, and it's a whole lot harder than compromising in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All of this is from experience.
Yeah.
And
Takes a lot of learning and a lot of growing too.
can you believe it's almost been 5 years?
No.
Actually, at the end of this month.
Yep.
it'll have been 5 years.
5 years. That's so crazy though. Wow. I would not look back and say I wish I knew what I knew then, because that doesn't leave any room for growth.
Yeah,
What
does.
I did, no, because
You
if
think
I
you can
knew
go
it
from
then,
here?
no, if I had knew all of this,
Yeah, you're perfect.
I mean, you're right. They're still growing. But what I'm trying to say is like, yes, I could say I would wish I knew what I knew then, but then
Our journey
even in
would've been
that
different.
it would have been so different, and I'm so glad for all that I've like learned throughout that point, even though it takes some years and of learning and unlearning and relearning stuff. There's
and
so much.
fighting
And
like,
let me tell you something.
behind the scenes, y'all. Oh my goodness, behind the scenes, it's really not all sunshine and rainbows.
And I tell them all the time, I've never portrayed. I've never tried to portray that, because believe it or not, it doesn't matter how many comments you get of how cute a couple you are, and everybody has their fair share of trials and tribulation and things that they're struggling with or currently I've struggled with or currently struggling with.
Arm.
My arm?
Yeah, don't do your arm here. You're guarding yourself.
Oh,
You're
I'm trying to hide my tummy.
Oh, is that what's happening? Okay, then you do whatever you want.
My tummy's so fat, guys. I'll show you.
No, don't guys though. No, I was just saying that like.
Oh, it feels like I'm closed off when I put my hand like
it's
this.
a defensive position.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Now you tell me the reason. It makes total sense. So.
I'm just holding. It doesn't matter which arm.
Yeah.
I'm just holding.
Yeah,
I don't like.
it doesn't matter. It's all. Now that I know the reason.
Yeah.
It's not like you're guarded from the conversation.
I'm just trying to have myself.
There, I'll help you.
Oh my god. But yeah.
But yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, y'all.
But I tried to tell
it gets
them.
better.
Yeah.
It gets better.
Yeah.
It may not all be sunshine and rainbows, but
What
I gotta
what
say,
is life without?
like, you don't get a
just-
rainbow if there's no rain.
Right. And I don't remember who I was talking to the other day. I was like, for years, not even years, like months. Like, when did we have our first biggest fight? Like, we never used to have fights, and then I reached to a point where every little thing triggered
When was our
me.
first big fight?
Yeah. Was it in 2020?
Nope.
It was before
It was
that.
in 2018 in the top floor of the Radisson, 3 days
20
after our wedding.
Because he didn't want to come in the bathtub with me.
It was a huge fight
And the
over a
females,
bathtub.
the females on here would agree with me. Just imagine it's the third day of your honeymoon, and your husband has his laptop in the office, in the room, playing video games and not watching the. That was the reason.
No, it wasn't. I was literally laying in bed. I was literally laying on the bed.
But
I wasn't playing video games
okay,
then.
all right. So if
I was literally just laying on the bed.
And you didn't-
I didn't want to take a bath in the whirlpool tub.
But let me
That's
tell you guys, you might be just laying on the bed that time, but I was hangry from before that. I was hangry because you were there. You were playing with, I think it was Carissa. That was the first time you introduced me.
I introduced you to Carissa and Bryson.
And then it was our honeymoon, and you sitting there on the laptop playing game.
fine,
So
you're
I
right.
was upset, guys. And any
Hey,
woman,
what is with this?
I tied it because
okay.
I tied it because
Oh,
the
this
ends.
is the weird twist that wouldn't stop.
It's just a
coming
bunch
undone.
of them I tied because I don't want the hand start like reeling out.
Okay.
But any woman can tell
Probably
you.
shouldn't tie them though, because then when they blow up here, if they get caught on something, it's even harder to.
Yeah, I'll
redo
trim
it.
them up. It's been 2 weeks now, so I'll fix it up, guys. It's 2 weeks since I do my hair. But any woman can tell you that they would have feel some sort of when your honeymoon and your husband is just over there on his laptop. And that's
What's
what's
on my laptop? I was
not
laying in
that
bed.
day, not that day, but you were there. You were playing games.
Not the first night.
No, of course not the first night.
That was the first night at the Radisson.
The first night at the Radisson, but not the first night of her honeymoon.
The
Remember, we had a different. We had two hotels.
Yeah, but the
for-
first night. Okay, so the first night at the Radisson, right? We got into that huge fight.
Yeah.
I didn't get on my laptop until after that.
Yeah.
The first part of the honeymoon, though.
I don't know.
The first part of the honeymoon was at the other hotel.
Yeah.
Where we had the honeymoon suite. It was super nice, and we had that old couple. Video us when I carried you
remember.
over the threshold. But
Yeah.
regardless, point of the matter is that was when our first big fight happened, and I
Yes.
think at that moment, if we had been looking for compromise instead of just been headstrong, I think it would have changed the way our journey went. And frankly, because of how much I've learned with you and where we've gone and all of the crazy stuff that we've done,
Yeah, I think that
I
was.
don't think I would have changed it.
Yeah, I think that was a big surprise to you too, because you've never seen me that angry. You've never seen me
over
flipped
something
out.
trivial. Because no, like seriously.
No, but period. You've never seen me that angry before because I've always tried to withhold my emotions, you know, because I'm like,
you know, both of us were trying to like, oh, if I do fall out of line, they won't marry me. So
that's not even really that. But it's just like, you know, I've always been that. But then that night I could not withhold it. But you know what, guys? Compromise is one of the best things that has ever invented or ever emerged or ever wherever it comes from, you know, because I can tell you compromise saves a lot of lives, saves a lot of marriages, so it saves a lot of friendship.
It's saved ours.
Yeah.
It has on several different occasions. Learning how to sit down and be like, all right, I want this, and you saying I want this, and us sitting down and saying, all right, well, I'm not willing to do all of that, but where can we meet in the middle? Like, you want all of this outlandish stuff, I want all of this outlandish stuff. Where do we not be outlandish? We set some of those unreal expectations aside and sit in the middle. And that leads into the next point.
Mm-hmm.
What are some time? Give me an example of a time we have.
Mm-hmm.
Set aside our outlandish, you know, BS on the sides, and sat in the middle and said, all right, what can we deal without?
Mm-hmm.
And what is absolutely necessary? What are you willing to do, and what am I willing to do? It doesn't have to be a big compromise. It's just a time you remember.
I remember we were wanting, because before now, guys, now we both have Saturdays and Sundays off. But before I had any random days, and Billy has Sundays and Tuesdays, right? If I happen to get a Sunday off, I would want to film at least 4 or 5, you know, videos in the day. And like I would come up with some topics and it would be like, how about if we film 3? And guys, I'm telling you, I'm fuming inside. I'm like, what do you mean film 3? Like in my head, I'm saying like, what do you mean film 3? It's the only day we get to be off and we have to make sure we have content. So we go out, we do different things, you know, in that one day. And then he said, I was like, 3? Like I said, we about film 3. I was like, and I'm just like, yeah, I guess that can work. But you know, I have to take a little walk back and think to myself, like, what could he be thinking? Like, you know, what's going on? Why want to make 3 instead of 5? You know? And I was like, man, that was hard, but it was okay, because then after the 3rd video, you realize you're exhausted from just being in front of the camera, you know, and just wanting to do something else. That was hard, but that was the time. What was your time? So you weren't thinking of any time?
No, I've been thinking. It's just that it's hard coming up with like good times.
Good times.
We haven't already tangented into. Especially for me, like I don't actively think about compromising anymore. It's not something like I actively think about. But when I notice you get upset, my first thought is, it's not an active where's the compromise. It's what would make her not upset. And that thought right there. Yeah. Look, thinking about it now, I realize every time that you think that thought,
it leads to compromise.
Yeah. What can I do to make you not upset?
Yeah.
That turns around and says, what exactly do you need from me? And then on the other hand, it's saying, like, that's when I'm turning around and coming to you looking for a compromise if you're angry. Yeah. And then at the same time, there have been times when I've been mad at you and you've walked into the room and you've just given me a hug or you've apologized and you've you know, come to that place of compromise that's like, all right, what do we need to both be happy here? And every time that thought goes through my mind, what do I need to do to make you happy again?
It just leads to automatic compromise.
Because at that point, what you've done, that thought of, what do I need to do to make you happy? Immediately takes all of my wants, puts them at the back burner, and we'll talk about that when it's time to talk about my wants. But right now, what I want is a compromise that ends in you being happy, because I want us both to be happy. You know, happy spouse, happy house.
You know, as you said that though, like, it just triggers like a question in my head. Remember you were talking about like the one-sided compromise? Have you at any time, I wear this side down here. Have you at any time felt like compromise and trying to keep the other person happy was a one-sided with you? Like,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there
like,
have
honestly,
been times
yeah.
where I've definitely felt like, why am I always giving everything up? Why am
But-
I the one who always
yeah.
has to step back? And it hurts in those moments, but at the same time, both of us have to be willing. Like it's like that Chris Rock special when he was sitting there talking. Sometimes one of you is going to work harder. Sometimes the other one of you is going to work harder.
Yeah.
And when you're the harder working one, understand that there's going to be a time when you're not.
Yeah.
As long as you are both working to help each other, you're going to have a happy marriage.
Yeah. So, would you say you have been through that phase when it was you making all the compromises,
Yes,
like
I've
sacrificing
been through
that?
it, yeah.
Okay.
I've been through it.
I can't tell you that I have. I've made compromises, but I can't tell that there was a time when it was just me saying, okay, doing whatever, you know. And, you know, like sometimes I look back on it and I was like, you know, you always say, like, if you ask me if you can get this, like, babe, can I get some of my game? Can I get some of my... It's like, it's not that I couldn't say no. But once our bills and everything is taken care of, I don't see not. Sometimes I say, oh, about not this paycheck, but like next paycheck,
you know
and
that
that is a compromise.
That's a compromise,
yeah,
right
you
there.
know, so
little bitty compromises that each lead up to learning to make those bigger compromises.
yeah,
Because when, let's say for instance, when I go to buy my next car, when I go to buy my vehicle, since you've got your vehicle out there, right? When I go to buy mine,
I see why you're doing that. Well, it's ours now, but I pretty
Yeah.
much owned it and say it's mine.
yes, you said that if when either of us get a new car, I have to get a new car because that one's your baby.
Yes.
So, when I go get my new car, right, it's gonna be a compromise between you and I because I'm gonna want specific things, right? And you may not want to pay. You may not want us to take on the financial responsibility. So there might come a point in between where you have to say, all right, we can make this sacrifice to get you this nicer thing, and I might have to put my expectations aside and say, all right, I may not get this nice thing, but I can have this nice thing. That's a little bit less.
Yeah,
because
but still nice, based on what you would like.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely a compromise that I see coming in our future. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all. We both really appreciate you. You guys make this channel everything that it is, like she said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Beginning of this. You guys really drive me to get better as a man. Because I can't be wise and give good advice if I'm not getting better, and you guys give me that reason to be better. So I want to say thank you guys for everything that you do. Thank y'all for the comments. Thank y'all for the likes.
Yeah.
The dislikes, even though y'all can't see them, I can. But our camera is about to die. So thank y'all. We love you guys.
We'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next one. Bye!
Oh my god.